happening within the Punjab Congress. Huge embarrassment for the Gandhis because Navjot Singh Sidhu, a person who they chose, who they handpicked amid the fight between him and Captain Amrinder Singh, has now resigned as the Punjab Congress chief. I'm sure you've all seen the news, the kind of reactions that have come in. And I think the most basic question that everyone's asking since Sidhu's surprise resignation, it came as a jolt, not just for everyone who's outside of the Congress circles, but within the Congress too. It came as a huge surprise. Why did he resign is the question everyone's asking, and I'll tell you why. Sources have told us that first, he was upset that he was made the chief minister after Captain Amrinder Singh had resigned. He thought that he would be the obvious choice for the Congress High Command. That didn't happen. They chose Charanjit Singh Channi, which he then was okay with because he was someone who's a close aide of Sidhu. So he thought he'd essentially have control, which many of us also speculated about, that he'd be essentially calling all the shots. He'd be pulling the strings. That didn't happen. Reportedly, Chief Minister Channi didn't trust Sidhu, didn't give in to any of his demands. Sidhu wanted his aides in the CMO. That didn't happen. Sidhu didn't want Randhawa to be made the Punjab Home Minister. That didn't happen. So then he was very upset because it was very clear that he's not going to be the chief minister in any way, that he is not calling the shots from behind Channi. So all of that is what pushed Sidhu towards this decision, and Navjot Singh Sidhu resigned. He is of course still a part of the Congress, but he's been holding a number of late night meetings to kind of sense how much support he has, to check who stands with him, who doesn't, all of that. So there's been a number of late night meetings that he's been holding, and many of the MLAs, current ministers, have actually met with him. Some of them reportedly have tried to convince him to withdraw his resignation. In fact, here on India Today, we were learning initially that the Congress High Command also was focusing on that, was focusing on convincing Sidhu to withdraw his resignation, remain the Punjab Congress chief, essentially because, this is a huge crisis they're facing. Captain Amrinder Singh said he's been humiliated. He resigned, stepped aside. Then they put their faith in Navjot Singh Sidhu. He's resigned now. So what do you do, especially with 5 months to go for the elections? The Congress is facing a huge conundrum. But what we're hearing right now, and this is a news that's just coming in, sources telling us here on India Today that the Congress High Command has said enough is enough. They're not going to tolerate any of Sidhu's tantrums. So they've said very clearly that let him do what he wants. He wants to resign, let him resign. We're going to go ahead and fight this election under the leadership of the Chief Minister, Charanjit Singh Channi. Of course, all of us will question whether Channi has it in him to actually lead the party to a win in an election where the Congress really seemed to have good chances, but seemed to have spoiled that in the last few weeks. Now, the Congress High Command is reportedly brainstorming right now to figure out exactly who their new state chief will be and what needs to be done on the issue of Navjot Sidhu. Navjot Sidhu, Captain Amrinder Singh, both are still very much a part of the Congress, but they don't hold any sort of leadership role. Considering, forget Amrinder Singh for a second, considering what Sidhu has done, where he's essentially humiliated the High Command, he's essentially humiliated the Gandhis by resigning, there will be questions of whether any action will be taken against him or whether he'll be allowed to remain as a part of the Congress. But I also want to focus now on what's happening with Captain Amrinder Singh, because amid all this, I'm sure you saw the reaction that Captain Amrinder Singh had put out. He's had the last laugh essentially, and he said that the High Command made a mistake. Navjot Singh Sidhu is an unstable person. You can't say what he'll do next, and you can't go ahead and put your 100% faith backing everything in him. So Captain Amrinder Singh is clearly having the last laugh. What is he going to do next? He's still exploring his options. One is that there's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of talk that he's going to be meeting with Amit Shah and JP Nadda in Delhi, and that he's exploring the option of joining the BJP. So far, Captain Amrinder Singh has said that, look, my visit to Delhi is completely personal, so he's not really divulged too much information on who he's meeting and who he's not. But let's see if that actually happens. Another point, and this is clearly Captain Amrinder Singh on the advantage here, he's going to wait and watch how really things play out right now in the Punjab Congress. Is there a likelihood that the High Command will go back to Captain Amrinder Singh, apologize to him, saying we didn't mean to humiliate you, we made a mistake? Will that actually happen? Looks unlikely, because the Gandhis are not known to have done anything like that, but they are facing what you deem an unprecedented situation right now. And with no answers really at this point coming clearly to them, they're going to have to figure out what really their next step is going to be. it's not going to be easy either way for them to, decide what needs to be done. They've also planned that they're going to be sending Harish Rawat. He's Sonia Gandhi's emissary for the last many months, has been firefighting one crisis after another for the party in Punjab. Harish Rawat, we were told, is rushing to Chandigarh, but that visit has been called off, and that's a clear message from the High Command that they're not going to try in any way to actually address this issue, in the sense that they're not going to ask Sidhu to withdraw his resignation. And I'm sure a lot of you are also asking, where are the Gandhis amid all this? They were vacationing in Shimla for the last few weeks, and now Rahul Gandhi seems to be sticking to his schedule. He's found no need to, rush to Chandigarh to handhold the Punjab Congress through this, or for that matter to directly address this issue. He's instead sticking to his scheduled trip to Kerala. He's landed at the Calicut airport. He's going to be in Kozhikode and Malappuram for, I think, the next 2 days. And obviously that will raise questions also about how serious the Gandhis are on addressing this issue, because from a vacation in Shimla directly to Kerala, at no point are they directly touching down in Chandigarh and addressing this crisis firsthand, ensuring that the cadre don't get disheartened in any way because of all the confusion over exactly who the boss is in the Punjab Congress. So all of this, much more, we're tracking very closely here on India Today. Arvind Kejriwal, amid all this, is on a visit to Punjab. Obviously, the AAP, the BJP, Akali Dal, they're enjoying all of the drama that's playing out within the Punjab Congress. So Kejriwal is on a 2-day visit to Punjab, and the AAP is saying he's going to be making a big announcement. The last time he was in the state, and the AAP is seriously fighting this election. They're hoping that after Delhi, the next citadel will be Punjab. Will that happen or not? Still a big question mark, but the Aam Aadmi Party is clearly going all out. The last time around, when Kejriwal was in Punjab, he made that big announcement with regards to free electricity, similar Delhi electricity model in Punjab. This time around, what really is his announcement going to be? We'll get you the latest on that through the day as well. So those are, in fact, all the updates you need to know on the Punjab Congress story. Of course, complete disarray that the party is in, and we're going to be getting you the latest updates on that. That is the top story, and that's what everyone's talking about this Wednesday. So I'd like to wrap up this broadcast with that story and tell you that for all the latest political analysis and all the latest updates on what's really playing out in the Punjab Congress, stay tuned to us here on India Today. Have a great day.